Hi everyone, it's me Julienne. Welcome to my channel. For today's video is actually a continuation or a part 2 of my previous video, which is the one habit that has changed my life. But for today's video, we're going to be talking about different types of journals that had helped me in the past year and until this time. I'm also going to be sharing to you some tips on how you can start journaling. If you would want to watch more chill vlogs and these types of videos like habits, productivity, even like self-development journey, then just go ahead and be part of our community. Subscribe down below. Also like this video if you like habits type of video. And I hope you will enjoy the video. There are actually a ton of ways on how you can journal, and you can just search online. There are so many videos and so many prompts of journaling, but I'm just gonna tell you like the basic things that I've been doing recently. The very first one is the morning pages, which is a 3 pages brain dump every morning, the moment that you get up in the morning. If you are not yet going to do work or anything, you will just grab a notebook and just write everything unconsciously with whatever your brain is thinking. And the morning pages is very common for a lot of people, especially those people who are very creative, like writers and novelists, because it would give them that idea of the information that comes into their head earlier in the morning. The second journal is actually a prompt journal. What do I mean by this is that you would have a question that you're going to be following and you're just going to write down the answer. This journal is very specific, and sometimes it's actually good when it comes to manifestation of dreams and all of those things, because you will have a clear mindset of what you really would want. For example, a question would be, what is your dream life? And in this dream life, you will just journal everything that you wanted to have as a dream life. And with this, it varies from person to person. It depends on you of how many pages you can write. The third journal that I'm going to mention is actually a brain dump, or like an evening journal before you go to bed. For those people who are struggling when it comes to sleeping habits or insomnia, this journal is very helpful because you are just going to let go. It is like meditation, wherein you're just letting go of the day and you're basically winding down to relax and to focus on sleeping. And the last journal that I'm going to be mentioning is the bullet journal, which I have started last year, 2019, to now. The bullet journal is a very creative and artistic way on how you can plan your days, and somehow for me, not a lot of planners is very suitable for me. Therefore, having a bullet journal wherein I'm capable of writing, or I'm responsible of writing everything that I want and to create the bullets that I wanted and the pages that I wanted is just amazing. So if you haven't tried bullet journal yet, I suggest that you can just watch YouTube videos. There are a lot of it online, and just start experimenting with it. Those are the 4 bullet journal that I started incorporating in my daily habits and in my daily life. I know there are a ton of different ways on how you can journal, and for those people who are just starting with journaling, then it's definitely beneficial to start with a basic and then go with a complicated stuff in the future. What are the things that you needed to know when it comes to writing journal? Number one thing, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I guess having a good notebook helps me a lot to be inspired to write in a journal. Because if the notebook isn't really that good, especially if the paper is just very thin and it's not very comfortable to write on, then I don't really like it. So to look for a notebook that would inspire you to indulge into journaling. It's the very basic, it's the number one thing, but I think having a beautiful and very sophisticated and encouraging journal or notebook would definitely interest you to include it in your daily lives. Speaking of the design and the words itself, I do encourage you to buy a notebook which has encouraging words in it. For me, I have encouraging words in the notebook so that it would motivate me to manifest and to write things. The next thing, which is a very basic one, which is a pen. And I know this is kind of sounds silly, but I felt like having a good pen and a very comfortable pen that you would write for like more than 3 pages or more is really a very good idea. Because when I was journaling, I started with just any pen that I've seen. Sometimes, even though I still want to write, but my fingers already hurt, then I stop writing. But nowadays, I've chosen a pen that I would definitely be motivated to continuously journal for how many pages, even though how long it is. Now let's get into the tip of the content. When it comes to writing journal, a lot of people hesitate writing it because they're thinking of like, what language am I supposed to use? And I'm not really good in English, so I might have grammatical mistakes or misspellings. But the thing is, when it comes to your journal, it's actually your property and it's your responsibility, and it's actually your right if you would want to share it to people or not. So whatever you write in that notebook is definitely for yourself only. So I suggest that don't be very conscious about the grammar or the misspellings or the idea. Just write down everything that you have in your mind. It doesn't need to be very high vocabulary. It can be as simple as your daily conversation, or if you have a different language like mine, sometimes I also write in my own language. But whichever language do you prefer, then just write in that specific language, because you don't need to force yourself to think of translating it in English, because it doesn't really matter. It's basically you and your journal having a conversation, but the thing is, your journal is not talking. The next tip is basically to go with the flow. A lot of people make a mistake of stopping to write if they already wrote a page or 2 pages. It doesn't really matter how many pages you're going to write. The thing is, as long as you are in the flow and as long as you still have a lot of ideas and information in your head, then just go ahead and write it. It doesn't matter if you reach 10 pages. There are a lot of moments wherein I have my evening journal would reach 5 or more pages, and it doesn't really matter how much pages it has. What matters is that you were able to release everything that you're thinking and worrying about. Another tip is that to write everything that you're going through. And what I mean by this is that a lot of people write journal just because they're having a hard time or they're having a bad day or a bad situation and they're in pain or hurt or struggling. I get this totally. I'm not discriminating or putting down these emotions. These are definitely very important time for you to journal. But in those moments wherein it wasn't really bad and you're having a great day and it's an awesome day, then don't forget as well to document these situations, because once you look back to this journal, you would realize that you actually have amazing days and not always problematic days of your life. So it's also very beneficial for you in the future that you would look at it and realize that it wasn't really a bad year after all. And with all honesty, I just want to add to this tip, because Personally, when I'm starting journaling, that's the only thing that I usually write about, which are the things that's happening in a bad way. And now that I'm reading those contents that I had in the past months and years, I wish I have documented those moments that aren't actually terrible, so that I would realize that in those months there are actually amazing things that also had happened in my life. And the last tip that I'm going to give you is that be honest with your journal. The thing about journaling is that a lot of people hesitate to write down everything that they thinking or that they are worrying about or just anything. And because of that hesitation, they don't really release everything that's supposed to be released on paper. And the thing is, you just have to be honest. Journaling is for you to be honest with everything that you're going through, with every secrets maybe that you have, and write it down. Just make sure to keep it properly so that not everyone would read it. Again, when it comes to this keeping and not allowing anyone to read it, it's actually your responsibility and it's your right. So if it's just scattered around your house, then definitely people would read it. But if you keep it properly, then it wouldn't be read by everyone. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you are not yet part of our community, make sure to hit that subscribe button and be part of our community. Like this video as well, since you are already here. And I'm just going to see you next time. Bye!